Hello all. This is another free response question that deals with 2D arrays, and I wanted to make sure that you understood the question, but if you have not tried to understand it on your own, go do that first. So pause the video and come back if you're confused, or maybe even try it and then come back if you don't think you did it right or understood it right. So pause the video and try it first. Okay, so this is a 2D array situation. There's two parts to do as usual. You can see there is a class called LightBoard. Its only instance variable here is a 2D array of Booleans, and that might be a new situation for you. We've never had one in class, but any data type can have a 2D array. Your job in part one is to implement the LightBoard constructor, or part A, the LightBoard constructor, and constructs the LightBoard objects having num rows and num columns. So make sure you use those two parameters. You can assume they're greater than 0. And then at the end, each light has a 40% probability on being set to on. We'll talk about that in a minute. But again, like always, your constructor is there to initialize your instance variable, which is a 2D array of Booleans. So think about that before you get moving. Part B is going to be to evaluate the light based on all kinds of rules that we'll see in part B. So I'm going to go through part A first. So here it is. Part A says write the constructor for the LightBoard class which initializes light so that each light is set to on with a 40% probability. So the notation lights R of C represents the array element of row R in column C. So your job is to, again, fill up the 2D array that is the lights 2D array, so that you're going to be referencing that. You're going to be putting true and false inside of each of those positions in that 2D array, and you will assign a true to that position in the 2D array with a random chance, so a random variable. You're going to need a random variable, and you're going to make sure that random variable represents a 40% probability of happening, and if that random number if that random number happens, you set that position to true. So that's part A. Good luck. Again, you may not get every part of it, but you will hopefully learn some things that you can do when you look at the solution. So pause the video if you just want to go and complete part A. All right, part B gets a little bit more complicated. We're looking at, let's see if I can see this. Let's slide this down a little bit. All right, here's part B. Write the evaluate light method, which computes and returns the status of a light given the following conditions. So you essentially have to translate these three things into Java code. If the light is on, so if that position in that 2D array is on, return false if the number of lights in that column are on is even. If the column number of evens is on or set to true, if that's even and the current box called for is false, is true, you want to return false. Second condition, so these are all if statements. In fact, these things start with if. If the current position or the parameter position is off, meaning false, if the position in that 2D array is false, return true if the number of lights in that column are divisible by 3. So you're going to be using mod. If neither of those things happen, just return that spot in that 2D array. Okay? So again, that's what I'm going to be doing in this question is, this is the method here. I'm going to be using the parameters row and col, and I'm going to be looking inside of lights to determine all of those slightly strange conditions listed in 1, 2, 3. And take a look at the options there in the right here. Again, so if I were to, let's just go through one. If I were to call this method with a LightBoard object called sim, and I went and looked at 0, 3, that should return, your method should return false, because at 0, 3, it's true, and the number of truths in that column, I'm looking down here, is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's even. So that should return false as described in Rule 1. So take a look at that. Good luck, and grade your responses when you're done.